trusting the ultimate guide before the map is clear. Faith comes first. It moves first.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are pretty delighted that we've been able to create for you free access to over 700 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, building wealth wisely through real estate. And you can get access to them on our DekkerTeam.com website, our Dekker Team YouTube channel, or tune into Family Radio, chri.ca or 99.1, and you can listen or you can choose to watch us. Your call. This one's kind of cool. The whole concept of faith driving us versus fear controlling us and fear potentially stopping us. So often people think of movement as reckless, but I think fear is more reckless if you've done your research.
Faith is not reckless.
Right.
Faith is believing in the promise, is believing in your research, is believing in the guide that's guiding you, that's gone before you. You know, when talk about faith, we were on that precipice on the cliff of the ice sheet, right? Where it had sheared off. And it was about, I don't know, 50, 60 feet tall, maybe a little more. Yeah. And he put the two little screws, augers, into the ice and put a rope through it, attached it to my belt. And you'd already gone over the edge. She didn't have any fear, just total faith. I had fear. I couldn't get through my head how I'm going to get off the edge of the ice without banging my chin on the ice. And he said, you got to trust the rope. You got to just lean back and trust the rope. I said, I trust the rope. I don't trust those two little screws in the ice. That's what I don't trust. Anyway, I guess if it took your weight, it would take mine.
And it did.
And it did. And I leaned back, and it was like total freedom. Rappelling down the side of that ice was so amazing. It was such an amazing experience. Now, I could have let fear stop me.
And some might say you ought to have. And some might say that I ought to have let it, paralyze me.
It's not reckless. We were there with a guide.
Yeah.
We were there with a guide. We took a helicopter to the top of the glacier. He knew what he was doing. He'd walked those glaciers tons. Yeah. And he walked us through all kinds of things. So was it adventuresome? Was it maybe a little risky? Yeah. Was it fun? Was it exhilarating? Yes. Was it super dangerous? Probably not. No. It felt super dangerous because we'd never done it before.
Right. And I think that's what we're saying. The ultimate guide is God. The ultimate guide is not us. So let's qualify that. At the beginning of this segment, I said, if you're listening to the ultimate guide, then faith is the right action. Mm-hmm. And the ultimate guide is God. He has all kinds of amazing scriptures. So if he tells you that this is something not to do, whether you read it in his word or because he says like the borrower is slave to the lender. Mm-hmm. So being reckless with the amount you borrow, over leveraging, yes, it's going to cost you likely to lose the property you buy. High interest rate loans. I mean, if it's for 6 months until you get your maybe permanent residency or until you get enough time in your job and you know it's happening or there's enough business history, if you pretty much can see the writing on the wall and it's going to go in your favor, maybe it's okay to go with high interest rate for a short period of time. Or you're going to be released from some previous hold that higher interest debt has caused you to need at this point. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, if it has to be done, it's too hard, not meaning it takes effort. Effort is a great thing. But if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not a miracle from God. It's probably reckless.
Man-made.
Man-made, which isn't a miracle. How many times have we heard people say, I got the loan, I can't believe it. Well, I don't believe it either. And I think it's really risky. I think that's too high interest rate. You had to go private mortgage. You had to go borrow against something like you needed. Nothing's going to change in your recent, like your soon upcoming history.
Yep.
Like each situation is different. So what we're asking you to do is really earnestly dig in, pray, seek the scriptures, seek the ultimate guide, and then seek a guide that's willing to have this faith-fear conversation.
Yeah. Give us a call. Put us on, go on our website, get a clarity call booked on our calendar, 15 minutes. We're going to pray with you. We're going to figure out this thing and, hear from God. And if you don't hear from God or you don't have peace, then don't go forward. Like, it's that simple. You may not hear a direct word, a spoken word that says, yes, go ahead. But is red lights coming up? Or is there total peace around this after you pray about it? Your family prays about it. We pray with you. And we'll take some steps forward. And then we'll see if God closes the door or opens the door, right? If God's opening the doors, then who are we not to walk through them?
Right. And sometimes I'm thinking of one client right now. Well, I'm thinking of like many, but I'll narrow it down so that I can hopefully be clear as we have this conversation, where she was fearful of buying a condominium because it wasn't what she wanted. It was going to have condo fees. Maybe there was going to be special assessments. Maybe it was going to take her out of the comfort that she was seeking from having a home and a roof over her kids' heads where someone wasn't going to tell her potentially to move. Or she couldn't do what she wanted inside the home because she was renting, right? Yeah. And had been renting a long time and knew that because real estate is leveraged, it has the potential to increase based on the purchase price, the larger amount, not just based on the money you're putting in. So it can be a very safe thing. And she's paying rent anyway. So she was paying about what she would have been paying even if she purchased. But she was going to need to settle on something and didn't want to settle on a condominium. And I said, is it your own fear or is it other people's opinions that's causing fear in you? Like, what's creating this anxiety for you? And she realized it was because so many other people she knew were in a totally different income bracket. They weren't immigrants. They hadn't come to this country later. They weren't single parents. So their situation had nothing to do with her situation. So she was driven by their opinion and their fears around this. And so we explored some options around newer condominiums that would be low maintenance, not something with a pool in the building or a lot of brick on a tall high rise, because those were riskier for her. There's less control with a condominium. So we looked at options, and now it's been 3 years, and she is so thrilled. She comes out to every client family gathering and is just like, wow, I'm so happy that I didn't let the fear of other people's opinions stop me.
We had fear when we bought our first house in Ontario. And the fear was that we would be house broke, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, God provided. We changed some of our spending habits.
Pretty much all of them,
All of them. And we went from, thinking we were going to be broke to fully finishing the basement in the house.
Yeah.
And paying it off in 12 years. Only through God, right?
Yeah, only.
Yeah. So we're delighted that we can be clarifying your options, because when your options are clear, your wisdom will flow.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward